Hey guys, it's BlockchainBrad, and today we're doing an update. That's right, we are talking to Blockcloud, and that is essentially an advanced blockchain-based TCP/IP architecture and layer for the blockchain. To do this further, we have Zhongxing. He is the CEO of Blockcloud, once again in the hot seat. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much, Brad, and it's my great pleasure to meet you again.
It's great to see you. Obviously, you're in a hotel at the moment, no doubt traveling, promoting Blockcloud and speaking about it. And I want to get straight into it, though, and talk about some key points as updates for the public. The first thing I would like to talk about is the community. Now, with regard to community engagement, obviously the people matter essentially for any project. They are the people who fuel it. What are you doing right now to ensure that they are informed and engaged in Blockcloud?
Oh, thank you. This is a very good question. We have made a good process about the community build-up. So currently we have more than 1,600 global members in our community, and to inform them well, we have built a strong community management team in our office, and they can work 24 hours, and we are also collaborating with global local organizations like in Germany, Vietnam, Singapore, and Korea to help us to build and manage the local community.
Okay, so can I ask you, how can you ensure the quality of these people that are managing these different informative groups or information groups? How can you ensure that they know Blockcloud, they really know it, rather than just be hired to support Blockcloud?
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. So we are very selective to the collaborators for the community, and we have talked to them several times before building the collaboration, and we also texted them whether they really understand us, and also we have our team member in the community group to they know the language of the local country, so they are in charge of everything. They will examine the effectiveness of their work every day. So in this way, we can guarantee that they are under control.
I see. Now, can I just talk to you a bit about the importance of media, more so as a question? Now, obviously, you've raised this point many times before when we discussed this, that you are a tech-driven entity and a tech-driven project. But how important is it, in your view, media in crypto particularly, or in this arena, whereby we're literally seeing a transformation into decentralized business models? How seriously are you taking streams of media?
Yeah. This is also a very good question. So we regard media as a very important way for us to express our ideas to the public, because we are a technical driven thing. So because of this reason, we do need to let the public know in a simple word of what we are doing and what we want to achieve and what a progress we have made. So to do this, we do need the help with the media. So although we are a technical team, we are very serious and about the media, and we think they are really important. So we would love to closely collaborate with the great medias around the world to let the public know the details of the project.
I see. And just to explain this further, how are you engaging with media yourselves as a team in terms of your core team with regard to publications on Medium, for example? Are you still involved some way with regard to releases of information?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have built a media team in our group, and they are in charge of publishing the or propagating the project information around the world. And currently, our strategy is that we have selected a number of great medias and influencers to closely collaborate, not only in China, but in English-speaking countries, in Vietnam, in India, and in Europe, so around the world, and we will let the world know simultaneously the progress of the project periodically, and we will be very transparent to the media. So let the public really know what we are doing.
I see. Now, I wanted to ask you specifically, are you involved in, as the CEO, in the content? Do you take part in some of the publications yourself? Or your core team, the original team of Blockcloud, are you involved in anything where you're submitting information via these streams, such as Medium, for example, where it's a written-based submission system? Are you providing content as the CEO?
Yes, of course. So I'm not providing all the content, but I'm in charge of the main content or the main direction, because the core team are in charge of the everything, not the media. So we need to let the media know the right information about the project. So who knows the most right information in some core team?
I appreciate that. So thank you for clarifying that. Now I want to ask you a really difficult and direct question, and that is with regard to hype. Because we could discuss media until the cows come home for for a very long period of time, and we see this kind of approach time and time again. But underneath everything, without tech, you really have nothing for the future offering of utility and functionality on the blockchain and beyond. Now, if you approach this and you just did media and you focused on that, no doubt you could build the appearance of a very good and successful ICO and project beyond this for the public to perceive. How can we be sure of the difference between those companies that do hype very well and do really great media and those that do hype based on great tech? And how do we know you are great tech and then building upon that?
So this is a very good question, because we have 3 partners, right? So you basically see my face in the public, but where's the other 2?
Right.
So they are fully involved in building and leading the development team. So the reason why you haven't seen them is that because they are involved in the development, and so we have built a very strong development team with more than 20 full-time members, and we will gradually release some of their names who are very talented and experienced. So just give us some time, and you will see the development side, and you'll be very confident about us.
I see. Well, thank you for explaining that. So if I asked you this question, which is more important to you, the technology or the media? And why? Can you reason your answer as well?
Of course, technology.
Okay. That's interesting you say that, because we're seeing a lot of hype and media-focused projects come forth, but to see technology as paramount is, I would assume, is a very good thing to hear, because essentially that's what the project should be about. Now, if we talk about current developments, the current planning that you're going through, can you tell us some specific things that Blockcloud are doing right now since we've spoken last to update the community?
For the development side?
Yes. For anything that you're planning or how you have developed in the recent past.
Okay. So currently we are building 2 parts. One part is the smart contract for the token sale. Another is the development of the real system. And we have both made good progress. For the smart contract, we have finished our first version, and we are collaborating with some audit companies to verify the quality of the smart contract, and we will gradually release something that the public can see. And for the core technology, we have built a test environment for codec, and the public will also gradually see our open source text development in our GitHub.
Okay, can I just interrupt you there for a moment? Why is that going to be gradual? Why are you choosing to gradually release that as opposed to just being open source and transparent?
it will be finally open source. For graduates, it won't take too long, maybe just 1 or 2 months, because because it is a really new thing, and we want to make it solid before we publish it, in order to get rid of misleading the public.
Also, there will be code reviewers, no doubt, and you want to make sure, I would imagine, that your code is the best it can be. Now, that seems fair.
I want to mention that currently our private GitHub is under review by some of the companies and code reviewers.
I see.
So it's private, but it's under review. So the public will soon say something about the reviewers.
And what about the credentials of those reviewers? Have they been checked by Blockcloud to make sure that they know what they're talking about?
Yes. So we are very selective about them, and we also signed the NDA for this. Yes.
And can I ask you also, we've seen this time and time again with regard to the impact that specific code reviewers have in the marketplace, particularly those who are associated with publication houses. How important do you think personally that code review is when it's at a very nascent period, at the very beginning of a project, when it's just starting? How important is it to have a code review, or should it be done incrementally because you're building the code?
I think code review is very important because I was an engineer, and during the development, we always do code review with our teams to make sure that codes are perfect.
Okay.
So I believe a code review should be accompany the project from the beginning to the end.
So should code be good right from the outset is what I'm asking. Is that should there be indicators at the beginning of Blockcloud that indicate to those who are very experienced in code review, who have expertise in that field, should they be able to tell, in your opinion, in your professional opinion as an engineer, that there is some semblance of organization and quality already built into Blockcloud or any like company? Meaning that should there be an indicator of quality in the code from the start?
I understand the question. So this is why I just said that it should accompany the project from the beginning to the end. And currently, we can see that we are doing the real thing and can see our expertise. But for the whole thing, I think we should get it open source and let people and the public know. Okay.
I see, and also obviously you want to have the code reviewers do it more than once so that they can see your company evolve. So that's something that I'll look forward to seeing with those code reviews. Now, can we talk about your partnerships as well, with regard to new partnerships perhaps that we don't know about, or planned partnerships, Xing, about what you're planning to do with Blockcloud?
So partners?
Yes, in any business sense at all.
This is very interesting that we have been collaborating and got the collaboration with some blockchain projects and industries like Waves, like WTC, which is a IoT project, and with other projects for any reasons I can't say their names now. So
so you can't tell us all of them yet.
Yeah. But I can see Waves and WTC, yes, currently. So.
And they're big. I mean, if people go on Google WTC, that's a very substantial organization. It's very global, very large.
Yes.
But I also wanted to talk to you about VCs very directly. And that's because VCs seem to drive interest in many respects because they are key investors. They bring money into the project. Have you secured successful VC partnerships, and are they enough to get you over the line for having a strong financial position for the future?
Okay, thank you. So we have, for the fundraising side, we have more than we have expected. So we are talking to the onboard and incoming VCs to balance the allocation. And for we have got more than 80 investors around 18 countries of the world. So we are very selective, and we only get the strategic partner in. So they will have resources on either community or industry or media side to promote the project, and we believe that we have built a strong VC board.
I see. So what I wanted to, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you say the word believe, and I want to talk to you about that, meaning that obviously you do believe that you've chosen the right VCs and the right funds and the right support in place for a financial backing. But I want to ask you this directly in terms of belief. Because it is a belief itself, you can't actually know for sure. What kind of due diligence has your team done to ensure that the VCs and the funds that you've chosen are not going to simply use it as a means for pumping and dumping? And I ask you this directly because we have seen this in the past where the premise from the VC has not been about the long-term value of the company. So what kind of value-add due diligence did you do for these VC companies?
Oh, thank you. So first, we have seriously talked to every on-board investor. We do not accept money from anyone who we don't know, and this is one thing. And another thing is that we will see their portfolios and to ask information from their portfolios, and they are collaborators to do duty diligence if good or not. And we will also
I see what you're saying. You're suggesting that you're looking at the portfolios to indicate whether or not they're hodlers. They're ones who seem to be, I mean, we can only suppose that, but those who seem to have a pattern of believing, going back to your word, in your project for the long term. Again, it's always challenging in this industry to really know that for sure. But if we can now move across to pooling. And the reason why I ask you is because sometimes we have seen in the past of different projects that some stakeholders who've been able to access allocations have then sent this out somehow through the blockchain to essentially sell it in very sort of underhanded ways. How do you ensure that this kind of thing doesn't happen? And what's your position on pooling and things like that?
Okay, thank you. So I guess it might be very hard for us to guarantee. But we have just made the official declaration in our public channels that the Blockcloud team will never post, and we will never authorize any post to do such kind of things. And if any VC behind the post was find out, we will cancel the allocation, and we have also released a reward plan for people to help us. So if whenever someone can provide us with the evidence of who it was behind the poll, we will reward the helper by sharing the allocation.
I see. So Zhongxing, you're talking about a whistleblowing strategy. You're going to reward those who are going to really try and clean up the blockchain. And I, as someone who speaks as best I can in an objective setting, I really do appreciate that, because quite simply we want to see more of this truth and transparency happen. We also want to see people investing in companies of value. And so in this instance, I honestly cannot comment on your value. That's up to you. But certainly it's important that tech be first and foremost in the mindsets and in the approaches of the executive team of any project. So what you're saying, to clarify, is that you are not supporting in any way, shape or form pooling. You're not supporting anyone who sells you in the short term, because you are here for the long term. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Now, if we could talk about FUD, meaning fear, uncertainty and doubt. Now, there's been a few rumors spread around about you recently. Can we address them directly? What are these rumors, to your knowledge, with regard to founders of Blockcloud?
Okay, thank you. So there are some of the very interesting rumors. One of them is that we have 3 founders, and one of the founders have the different opinions about the project, and he just quit it. But this is a very interesting rumor, because he is currently Dr. Yang, is currently very busy with leading the technical team to do the extensive development, and so maybe he's not showing his face in the public. So that's why the rumor begins. But we are very closely collaborating with each other. And
so what you're saying is that there's no loss of any founder. That no one has vacated the Blockcloud building, and you're all still together.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Are there any other rumors you've heard with regard to perhaps the chicken before the egg? We've raised this before, but once again, I will ask you, again, you are not by any means, from what you've said, VC driven. You're not driven by the interests of money, but more so tech. Can you just confirm that once again for us and explain what you want to say in response to those rumors?
Of course. So this is a very important issue that no matter whether we have VC or no VC, this is our research interest, and this is the Blockcloud project is what we have been doing for years and what we will do for our academic and industry life. So we do need the money from VC to support us, but the thing we are doing to involve the internet is really much more important.
I see. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the utility aspect for the future. What can you tell us about what you know so far about the viability and the prospects for this becoming something real and tangible and applicable in the real world? How can we know from your experience and what you can offer so far that Blockcloud has a real position in the future, beyond what you're just simply building as a project? So how can we know it transitions from project to business and then to application?
This is something like we just talked about WTC, right?
Yeah.
So they have we have built a strategic partnership to move to the industry. So they are not they invested us, but they are not for money. They want the industry.
Well, can you talk us through that? Sorry to interrupt, but it is important the audience know about W3C as well. What are they, and how does this relate to the real world for you?
Okay, so WTC is a IoT blockchain project that is very mature, and they have very good connections with the IoT industry because they came from the IoT industry and they have a mature business. And for the collaboration between us and them is to build to add Blockcloud functionality in their existing industry and vertical area.
I see. And obviously their reach is significant now. Can you tell us a bit about just how substantial W3C is in the world?
So WTC is among the few IoT blockchain projects that has real matured and large industry launched, not just ideas.
I see. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I mean, something that a lot of people perhaps don't know about yet. Now, let's talk about your team. Have you added any new members to your team since we've spoken last? Are you hiring more? What is the plan?
Yes, we have hired about 15 to 18 people since we last talked, because the community is becoming bigger, the development is becoming bigger, and so we have achieved the beginning of a global project, and we are going to hire more people globally to promote the project, and we have built the connection with developer communities in India, in Russia, in North America, and England. So we are going to collaborate with them. And also we have attracted a few great technical advisors, and we will gradually announce their names, so people will know by then that only a technical-driven project can attract those kind of technical advisors.
So I'm hearing inferences of big names here. Are we talking about very respectable academic advisors?
Both academic and industry.
Okay, so we're looking at business as well as someone as a model for attracting business savvy, you know, in no doubt the IoT space and most likely in the TCP/IP area and no
Yes.
doubt blockchain as well. So we'll look forward to seeing some of those developments. Now, obviously, there's been a lot discussed today in the updates. Can you tell us, as you know, a final statement, anything that we may have missed that you really want to address to the community, particularly with regard to where you're at with your ICO and what's planned?
Okay, thank you. This is a very good question. So we are planning to release our whitelist plan in August.
Mm-hmm.
I think this
So next
should
month.
be next month. So most likely to happen in next month for our whitelist.
Mm-hmm. And can I ask you, how generous are you being with regard to your distribution of allocations? How much have you apportioned for the community, for the crowd sale, in the sense that are you letting people access this fairly? Fairly for, with regard to, if we compare the amount of access you provided for the private sale, in that respect, how much are you providing access for the people?
Okay, so our original plan was $1 million US.
Mm-hmm.
So we are finalizing the plan because it might be too few, but we need to double check it.
And that's because you alluded to being oversubscribed at the moment, which is, interestingly, never a bad situation to be in, but it's something that you're going to have to do a lot of work with your team to work out exactly what you're going to do with that oversubscription.
Yes.
But please do not forget the people. If those people are interested in Blockcloud, it is important that the crowd and the public are always considered should they wish to participate in your value and your utility. But can I just allow you to finish off with final statements about Blockcloud, what you'd like to say to the community?
Blockcloud is very serious to our life, so we will show our serious and get your confidence about the project.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate that you've answered. It's been I guess, some tough questions sort of posed to you rather, and I appreciate your time. I know you are busy, you're in a hotel and you have meetings to do today, but Zhongxing, thank you again as the CEO of Blockcloud, and thank you for providing updates, and I look forward to doing another update with you in the coming months so that we can become aware once again of the developments of Blockcloud and the team that's leading this exciting TCP/IP layered blockchain-based efforts that are also integrating IoT for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.